All right, everyone, welcome back. So we are going to continue with R3 polynomials, and we're going to finish up with the properties of exponents, okay? So we talked about the power rule, the product rule, and the quotient rule. Well, now let's talk about some cases. The power of 0. Anything raised up to the power of 0 is always going to be 1. With the exception of 0. 0 can't be raised up to the power of 0. It's just a weird number. That's the only one. But everything else raised up to the power of 0 will equal 1. And then the next thing we're going to take a look at is fixing negative exponents. We can fix a negative exponent by whatever is being raised up to that negative exponent will be flipped to the other side of the fraction. So this general rule here, I have a to the negative n power. Well, the way we can't leave something with a negative exponent, it's not considered to be simplified. So the way we would fix it is we take the a, so this is on the numerator, and I would put it in the denominator and change the sign of it. Similarly, if I had like 1 over a to the negative n, well, now it's in the denominator. If I want to fix that, I could move it up to the numerator, and then the exponent would be positive. So a couple more rules to add to our repertoire of exponents. I'm going to take some examples from the book real quick. Let's give them a shot. Got this down? Good. All right. Let's say I have, I don't know, 2x squared y over x to the negative 3y squared to the second power. All right. So all of this stuff inside here, now we've incorporated some negative exponents. There's multiple ways in which we can do this correctly. We just don't want to break any rules here. But what I'm going to choose to do is bring everything in these parentheses to that outer exponent there. So I have this coefficient. Remember, coefficients do not behave like exponents. But I have a coefficient of 2. I'm going to raise that up to the second power, so that would be 4. And then I have x to the second. That would be a power of a power. Remember, when we have a power of a power, we multiply the exponents. So I get x to the 4th. I get y to the 1st to the 2nd. And 1 times 2 is 2. So y to the 2nd. All right? On the bottom, I have x to the negative 3rd to the 2nd. So all we have to do is multiply this exponent to that exponent. And negative 3 times negative 2 would be x to the negative 6th. And y to the 2nd, well, that would be 2 times 2 would be y to the 4th power. All right, now, we still got some exponents to move around. There's a couple of things that are wrong here. We can't have y's on top and bottom. So if I look at, and I can't have x's on top and bottom. So if I look at this x here, he's got a negative exponent. He can't stay there. You can't have a negative exponent. He wants to go home. He wants to go home with his friends who are up there and be positive. And there's already x to the 4th. And if we're going to take x to the negative 6, and there will be 6 more x's multiplied by each other on the top, we'll now have 4 times x to the 10th power. Why x to the 10th? All right, I'm going to pause. Let's talk about it. You tell me. Now the y's. More y's on top or on bottom? Yep, you're right. There's more y's on the bottom. By how many? By 2. Y squared. Good. Let's just try one more of these. Let's incorporate everything from the rules we went over last time, and we'll incorporate a 0 power. Let's do the whole kit and caboodle. All right, here we go. X squared y cubed z over 3 3x to the negative third y squared z to the fifth. Let's do this squared. And then let's do 2x to the fifth y to the negative third z squared over 8x to the 15th y z to the third. And let's do this to the 0 power. And we're going to take this big ordeal of stuff, we're going to simplify it, and we're going to multiply it by this big ordeal of stuff here. Okay, it's going to be neat. It's going to be fun. If you have questions, stop me, and I'd love to push pause and answer them. All right, no coefficient in front of this x squared. That's pretty easy. If I have x to the second, well, hey, that's x to the fourth. And y to the third to the second, well, when I multiply 3 times 2, that's y to the sixth, okay? And then I have z to the first to the second. So 1 times 2 is z to the second. All right, we're chiseling away at it. Now, on the bottom, I have this coefficient here, 3 to the second power. Don't treat it like an exponent, that's a coefficient. The 3 is a coefficient. So 3 to the second power is going to be 9. 3 squared is 9. And I have x to the negative third to the second power. Well, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So I get x to the negative sixth. And here I have y to the second to the second. 2 times 2 would be y to the fourth. And z to the fifth to the second. 5 times 2 would be 10, so I'd have z to the 10th. Okay, so we've taken care of basically that outer exponent for this big old mess of stuff here. And we're going to chisel it down. Let's do this one here. Wait a minute, anyone see something pretty cool? Raised to the 0 power is 1, right? Raised to the 0 power is 1. So all of this to the power of 0 means all of this is going to be 1. So 1 times, what's 1 times anything? Anything, whatever anything was. Anything times 1 is going to stay the same. So when we multiply by this real messy version of 1, nothing here will change. So this is going to just cancel away. But I do have some more simplifying that I can do here. Are these x's okay as an x to the negative 6? No, they're not. They got to go to the top and be with the other x's. Is the 9 okay? Yeah, the 9's fine. It doesn't have any sort of negative exponent that requires it to move, so it's going to stay. So we get 9. And how many x's are on top now when we move these 6 from the bottom to the top? You're right, x to the 10th. All right, do I have more? I have y to the 6th and y to the 4th. It's 2 more y's on the top, so we're going to have y to the 2nd on the top. And then on the bottom I have, let's see, with my z's I have z to the 2nd and z to the 10th. So that's a total of 8 more z's being multiplied by each other on the bottom. So I have my final answer, z to the 8th on the bottom. All right, guys. Thank you for paying attention and listening. We're going to practice some of this in the homework, and I'll see you in the next video.